Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So Kabam introduced Radiance and everybody loved it, and there was absolutely no complaints from anybody because Kabam designed the best store that we have seen, and first time in forever we can see just about everybody in the community being absolutely satisfied. If only, right? Because just about every time Kabam does anything, it will be put under scrutiny and criticism. And this time around, majority of critique is coming from, we're gonna say, mid-level Valiant players, lower-level Valiant players. And the reason for that largely is the fact that there is a fairly sizable discrepancy from, let's say, Mysterium 3 to Quantum, which is already kind of like a 50k drop here in the rewards. Everything else past that point, is decreasing fairly gradually. But there is a very, very noticeable drop off from Mysterium 3, which would effectively cover top 1000 players. 450, 750. 900, yep, top 1000 players rewards, and then everybody below in Battlegrounds. And I'm not even gonna lie, the cutoffs up here, the drop-offs up here are even quite drastic as well. For instance, finishing in C5 is 275, C4 is only 300. There's not that big of a difference here compared to first two spot, but then from C5 to C6 is already a 50k drop-off, then there's another 50k drop-off, and then it's slowing down. So it does seem to be dropping fairly lumpy, wavy in a sense, but obviously the biggest source of concern is anything below Mysterium 3. And with that, there are threads and discussions and comments being left everywhere. Therefore, I wanted to make a video to discuss it. Obviously, I will give my own personal thoughts and opinions, but, it's impossible not to be biased in situations like this, because majority of the time I do finish in C5, especially when I do try my best, and there's incentive to do so. And therefore, regardless of what I say, people are going to be like, weighing that fact before anything else. Now, the Radiance itself, and existence of it, I personally think great. And let me explain exactly why. Mainly, right now, for instance, finishing in let's say Mysterium 3 or even Quantum 3. Finishing in Quantum 3 gives you 81,250 Radiance as a season reward. And we're going to take a look at the old store. Where's the old store? Drop it down. Well, we're going to take a look at the new store. How much 80k Radiance gets you in today's biggest available resource. It'll be tier 4 Alpha Catalyst, 1, limit 10. Tier 4 Alpha Catalyst only costs 6,000? Really? Really? Tier 4 Alpha. That's the highest one of those, right? Only costs 6,000. Huh. That's interesting. Because this sense, if you finish after the rewards update, you finish in your Quantum 3, gives you 80k. With that 80k, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tier 4 Alpha Catalyst. So finishing Quantum 3 would automatically get you like 2 rank 3s. Obviously, you would have to spend a bit of cards getting, the tier 6 class or whatever, but you could easily buy 2 new rank 3s with that, which is significantly better rewards than it used to be. Or, with that 80k, you can put it towards like half a tier 7 basic, which at the moment would blow any big rewards out of the table. The fact of the matter is, those rewards are significantly better, even if you earn lower amounts of Radiance. And the fact that nobody really will have to largely accept 6-star sig stones or 6-star awakening gems or tier 3 alpha, tier 6 basics as their main rewards for doing anything, at a competitive level in the game, is a massive shift in the game economy and the way this game is going to be progressing. Regardless of whether somebody else is getting more or less than you are and how it compares, the fact itself that you can direct your resource to exactly what you need and avoid overflow of infinite amount of 6-star 6 stones that Kabam throws at you if you do not need them anymore, but if you do, you can still get them. Or infinite amount of 6-star awakening gems that you exchange for 1 7-star 6 stone if you don't need to get that, for instance. And anything that you earn, you can put towards the resources you're actually wanting and needing, is a big change and big improvement, regardless how you look at it, based on the distribution. Second thing is the drop-offs themselves. The drop-offs themselves also get partially immediately addressed with the way the store is built. As in, where if you are chasing, the top tier progression level rewards that would allow you to move vertically, it will make you pay increasing amounts of that. So, if you earn, let's say, 300k Radiance, or in total a month, because Battleground is going to be on only one avenue of doing so, you can't just spam tier 7 basics and, get meaningfully ahead, because after an X amount, they're going to be significantly more expensive, and you will be incentivized to go for 7-star awakening gem shards. You will be incentivized to go for titan crystals and just about anything else, because otherwise you would end up paying, effectively double the price or more than double the price at the end. Therefore, that naturally will slow down the increase in the gap, so to say, because besides the limits, the increased costs themselves will also mitigate, how quickly and how deep you dig in the most sought after resources. So it's kind of naturally designed to slow down the overachieving players and to effectively get the best deal to the people who are working with less Radiance, prioritizing, the most meaningful resources. So that is also a very good, natural built-in thing there. And last thing, obviously, is the fact that Radiance is not going to be just Battlegrounds. So it's not you have to play Battlegrounds at a high level to get a large amount of Radiance and to, focus on this. For instance, typically in Battlegrounds right now, if you take a look at top 100 players, they do not have the biggest accounts. They do not have the waliest of the players. They do have incredibly skilled players with solid accounts, but many of those accounts, would be below top 1000, top 5000 level, in size and their development. Those are the players who are A, very skilled, and B, are, hyper focused on Battlegrounds in their rank ups and in their gameplay and everything else. Same time, as soon as Radiance gets introduced to Alliance Quest, that will open, again, avenues to the players who are focusing on Prestige to kind of like catch up to the top Battlegrounds earners. So there's going to be, the people who rank up champions for Prestige who are less good in Battlegrounds that will get a good amount of Radiance even if they can't perform as well in the Battlegrounds themselves. And then Radiance is coming to Alliance War, and then you will be incentivized to do something, and as well as you can in every game mode, but the fact that you can't or are not doing one game mode to its absolute fullest will not mean that you're falling immediately behind. It just means that you kind of have to focus on the strengths and the things that interest you or are within your capabilities, and you can still earn a meaningful amount of resources. Because again, those people who are hyper focused on, let's say, Alliance War and Battlegrounds typically are not focused on Alliance quests, and there's going to be a new solo mode. So that, in theory, should create a fairly good balance and give you options. Obviously, we all have FOMO. We want to get as much of the hot new thing in the resource department as we possibly can, but, realistically, it will not be possible for like 99.99% of the players. And the 1% of the players who can do it already got the best and rare stuff. And that is the final argument here. realistically, like, there is no easy way to say this. People in Gamma 3 are not and will not ever compete with people in Celestial 5. And first of all, Celestial 5 is not home of the whales. Celestial 5 is home of the sweaty tryhards with some fairly skilled whales in there. But be that people in Celestial 5 are incredibly sweaty tryhards with incredible amount of skill, or be that they are just the biggest whales, whichever the case is, these people are not playing the same game. Nobody in Arcane 3 is playing for the same things as people in Celestial 5, for instance. Or just about no one. They do not play the same way. They do not compete for the same resources right now. They didn't do it before Battlegrounds existed, and it will never happen. The way you effectively progress in this game is you grind more and harder than somebody else ahead of you, but you can't immediately do that, 17 tiers ahead of you. If you are, for instance, somebody who's currently playing in Gamma 3, you can play, for instance, more Battlegrounds and get better skill-wise. That will let you jump up a few levels. But that is always accompanied with improving your account significantly, completing as much as in-game content as possible to also start growing your roster as much as possible, and then accompanied by the increase in the level of your skill and the increase in the level of your roster. That is how you overtake players. Obviously, injecting significant amount of cash in these type of games always let you jump several ranks ahead of you, which is, for instance, how, there are a whole bunch of whales hanging themselves in Mysterium 3, even if they are below average skill-wise, because they have the most insane rosters. But regardless of how insane your roster is, the Mysterium 3 Mega Whale cannot get to C3, C4, C5. They also have to be very skilled. And the rewards distribution will not change that, as it has never changed that. People in Gamma 3 are effectively running alongside people in Gamma 2, Gamma 1, Arcane 4, until you overtake them, and then you get marginally better rewards than they are, and then you overtake them. And then if you're keeping at it, naturally you are moving through the levels of progression. And then the biggest argument is, yeah, but by the time I'm gonna have like X amount of rank 4, somebody else is gonna have 20. And there's good news in that. Again, that has always been the case. But eventually, if you keep at it, that matters significantly less, to a point where in the top that, can be offset. The huge account difference can be offset as well. Because when there are, when one player has 5 rank 4s and another player has 20 rank 4s, that is a massive difference in the account size. That is very hard to overcome. But when player 1 has 25 rank 4s, and when the other player has 75 rank 4s, that doesn't matter as much anymore, because majority of your champions that you're using will be at the same level. Yeah, of course, the whales will always have advantage in SIG levels and the choice of the champions and how free they are to rank up whatever they want. And that's part of the game. But the point is, the more common ground the highest rank of the game becomes, the easier it is to compete with mega whale rosters. For instance, at the moment, I'm sitting somewhere, I don't know, on 40, 50 rank 3 champions. There are players with 150. They have 3 times the amount of rank 3s than I do. That doesn't really matter when I face them head on. What matters is obviously how many rank 4s they have. For now, until majority of my champions will also be rank 4s. And that's how this game, again, has went in cycles whenever a new progression level has been introduced. So whilst I do think that the drop-off here is, noticeable, I'm not entirely sure behind the design intent of it. I personally think this is designed to reflect the current approximation rewards and then extrapolate it forwards. Obviously, it's not an exact science, but realistically, we are able to judge this so harshly now because we see it in a form of one single number over the current rewards that you are getting. And I'd be willing to bet that there has always been a gap of a similar level. And it's just that it's so much easier to see it straight up as a one number in a table that it's generating so much outrage. Either way, I could be wrong, and you should not hesitate to tell me exactly why I'm wrong and how badly I misunderstood everything. But in my opinion, fact of the matter is the game is moving forwards. I do think this is the right step. Kind of solidify the rewards of the most significant game modes in order to keep them updated in timely manner. I do think this is for the betterment of the game. I do think this is not a finished project. I do think moving forward, Kabam needs to also start getting rid of existing currencies and stores in the game. And kind of like simplify that. And at end of it, if Kabam does everything right, they could completely change the way we kind of view the game economy and the rewards and everything else. With all that said, what are your thoughts about Radiance? Did Kabam do well? Which, again, for the record, I think they did. Or you have issue with the Radiance store. Yeah? I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have